This is episode 12 of Overheard Orlando. Today I'm joined remotely by Brett Tachi. She is a remarkable young lady with a dream to cover our city in beautiful art. You don't want to miss this. So I want to start with the most recent thing that you have going on, and actually what spurred me to contact you in the first place was your mural that you have over on Mills right now that you just did. Tell me a little bit about that. Like, what was that like, and where the inspiration for the imagery kind of come from?
Yeah, so um, I was asked to do that probably back in December of last year, 2019. So it was actually quite a process, just getting it approved by the city and everything. But it was really exciting because I had pretty much full creative freedom with that. So I decided to just run with it. And I mean, to be honest, like the design it just kind of came to me, organically, I guess. Like, I was thinking of what to do and just working on sketches, and I've always been inspired by cityscapes and, um, the contrast of really bright colors with black and white, so, yeah, I really just wanted to play on that, and, it was really fun to do. I'm really glad. It's something that I've wanted to do for a long time, so it was like a little dream come true in a way.
When I did find you and I kind of did scroll through your work, I did see a lot of those bright colors and things that you had mentioned and the contrasts. What would you say is like one thing that you would want people to take away from your work? If you had a commission, for example, and somebody was taking home your piece, what would you hope that they garnered from that?
It's a great question. I think I really would just hope that people can see and feel the love that I put into my work because that's really ultimately like behind everything I do is love. And I would just really hope that people would feel that.
I guess that brings us into something that we had kind of discussed before the interview, which was intentional living. And I thought that was a really interesting phrase. Tell me a little bit about what that means.
For me, intentional living is conscious thought behind actions. So it's really easy to, get caught up in the mundane things in life and routines and monotony, but really just taking the time to think about why you do the things you do and what they mean to you, I think is really, really important. And I think more and more people are turning on to that way of living, and it's really exciting.
Yeah, I definitely think that's very important. I've discussed in the past on the show and just with acquaintances and friends about the how it's really easy to kind of go through their motions and kind of get stuck in a routine where you're
Mhm.
doing things and you don't really know why you're doing them.
Yeah, totally.
It's just this autopilot kind of thing, and before you know it, a decade has passed you by and you're like, "What did I actually do?"
Yeah, right?
Ye honestly, yeah, I do also agree. I kind of feel like that's more of a thing of the past. I think a lot of people now are kind of, questioning what makes them happy and why am I doing this? Why am I here? Why am I, and kind of making, I guess, better use of their time um
Yeah.
on Earth, I guess. So
Yeah, definitely.
I do think that is pretty cool. So definitely love that. is there anyone locally here in Orlando that you admire, look up to, or inspires you or anything?
There are so many great artists in Orlando that inspire me. Just to name a few, there's Veronica Rose. She's an amazing visionary artist. My girl Desiree Dalrymple is a super talented painter. My friend and mentor Tatiana Yaramio, who I've learned almost like everything I know about murals from. And lately, I've been super loving the work of like Dalla Short, Samantha Shoemaker, Kelly Berry, Halsey, Boy Kong, Ryan Semple, Damian Caballero, um, Melissa, aka Brunchzilla, Sarah Berlin. Like, I could literally go on and on about all the awesome artists. Like, Orlando is just so full of creative energy, and I'm super glad to even be a part of it.
Yeah, I've had now that I've been doing the show for a little bit, I've had quite a few different artists of a variety of mediums kind of on here, and we've gotten the chance to kind of discuss the goings-ons, I guess, of the Orlando scene of art, and, they give me their opinions, their grievances, what they love, what they wish they could change. What do you wish you could change for the Orlando art scene? What would you like to see done differently, or some aspiration or goal that you would hope for it?
Mm, I guess I'd have to say I wish there were more opportunities for like gallery artists here because that is and always has been a bit of a struggle here in Orlando. They're just, for some reason, the galleries are just, it's difficult to find collectors. And I'm not sure why that is. I guess maybe because it's like a smaller city, but compared to like Miami or New York, like they have major galleries and representation, and there just isn't too much of that here. I mean, there is some, on a very like local level, but I think it would be really great to see more of that here. I know there are a ton of artists who would benefit from better gallery representation.
Yeah, I gotta be honest, I've heard a lot of people who kind of resonate with that,
Yeah.
very thing. For example, I mean, these are gonna be pre-pandemic kind of imagery here, but, for how many international visitors we get and
Mhm.
how many tourists and things of that nature we get I wanna say, and I don't have a statistic to back this up, but I'm pretty sure Orlando, again, pre-pandemic, was seeing more international traffic than any airport in the United States. Feel free to fact check me on that if I'm wrong, anyone. That being said, though, we only have one gallery that actually even features international artists or some of the more world-renowned artists, which is a little strange. And yeah, I was literally, and I just learned that from another guest I had. I've definitely heard the same thing about the lack of, as you said, gallery representation. So I'd say that was nail on the head there. So same question, taking the art part of it out of the equation, what is something you'd like to see change in Orlando as a whole, as a city, the people as a whole, I guess you could say. What is not even necessarily something that you would change, but what is like a hope or an aspiration you'd have for the community of our fair city?
More inclusion, more diversity, more connection, just more love all around. And, not to get too political or anything, but I would love to see Orlando really step up and even defund some of our police budget, which is known for a lot of police brutality. So I think that would be a really huge thing for the city to do. But politics aside, just growing the community and just keep continuing to make it stronger.
So now that we've talked about people, I know we kind of touched on social anxiety a little bit before we started the recording here. I guess first and foremost, as an artist, we know that there's a community involved. So how is it that you interact with that community at large with dealing with some social anxiety or other things like that?
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge. We live in a very social society as a whole, so navigating it while coping with social anxiety can definitely feel like a lot sometimes. And I think it's important to talk about it because a lot of mental issues um, are, kind of invisible from the outside. So it can feel very isolating in that sense. But I'm lucky enough to have met a lot of artists through mural work that I've done over the past couple of years. And before the pandemic hit, I actually did enjoy going to local art shows, even if it did mean having to, manage the anxiety of going out. So, really, my preferred way of connecting is through social media and other online spaces because I found it's a lot easier for me to express myself through writing and other creative outlets. And that's a huge reason why I love art so much because it gives me a voice that isn't stifled by anxiety. And like I've discovered and connected with so many artists through Instagram alone. So I'm really glad platforms like that exist.
Yeah, I'll say Instagram has helped me in the terms of this podcast quite a bit in finding people. It feels really cool that I don't have to just interview my personal friends every week. I get to find and make new friends, and it's pretty insane that I have not interviewed anybody that I wouldn't go have a drink with or go hang out with or, everyone's been fantastic. And anyone I've ever interviewed, yourself included, I would consider a friend, which has been really awesome. And it's sometimes when I'm meeting at like in person these people sometimes for the first time, it's weird, I know we're doing this remotely, but some of the people I've met like in person, like complete strangers who I meet them somewhere and it's just like it's almost like a date. It's kind of like, you meet like a it's like you're meeting a stranger, but, usually within, like, 20 minutes, it's pretty natural at that point, but yeah, I get that, and, it can be very difficult. It can be very, very difficult. So, what's next for you? What do you have in the pipeline in terms of your art? And, if there's nothing really going on, because I know a lot of the world is at a standstill, what would you want? What is your next goal, your dream?
Well, I just want to keep painting murals, really. I'm actually in the middle of launching my business, Tachi Design Co., which focuses on custom murals and graphic design. So, yeah, I just want to keep painting walls and just get bigger and bigger.
That's really great, and I think we were talking about, I really think this city really lends itself quite nicely to murals and things like that. It really adds so much character to something that can normally be so drab, like a parking garage is a big one. I always see really cool, murals in parking garages, which is normally, just a concrete box without a mural, so,
Yeah, I mean, any space can be a piece of public art, which is like the magic to me for murals.
you wanna tell me a little bit about your business before we, wrap things up here?
Yeah, definitely. So it's brand new. You can find it on Instagram at Tachi Design Co. And yeah, I've had some really awesome clients so far. I've done some work for Living Vitality, which is a local kombucha brand that I love so much. So definitely check them out. But yeah, I just really look forward to seeing what else I can do.
Alright, and, lastly, it's kind of like the signature question here, but, what's your personal philosophy, or what is your world view, your life view? The last interview that I did, I kind of worded it in a way that I thought fit quite nicely, but what is the purpose of the time chunk between waking up and going to sleep?
For me, that purpose is to create, to reflect, to spread love in any way that I can, to create beauty, and I guess just make the world a little bit more beautiful than it was when I woke up.
Awesome. I love that answer. On that note, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you
Thanks for
for
giving
having me. It was awesome.
Yeah, thanks for giving me a little bit of your time, and, I look forward to chatting again sometime.
Yeah, definitely.
Murals are an interesting art form, to say the least. While it's possible to own a mural, in all of the ways that matter, those murals belong to the community. When you drive by and you see a mural, you're kind of forced to think about it, no matter how fleeting that thought may be. As usual, you can catch me on Instagram at Overheard Orlando Podcast, or you can email me at overheardorlandopodcast@gmail.com. Thank you so much for listening, and stay true.